Hello everybody, Fungal here, and it is almost time for the Taiki Shuttle and Mejiro Dober banner to release. I'm assuming at the time of this video, these characters are basically going to be out, but I was looking into these characters a bit. I was thinking about writing a script for a video, right, and I'm here live by the way, and first of all, Taiki Shuttle is amazing, I love her, but when I was looking at Mejiro Dober, I've actually become more and more impressed the more I looked into this character and her unique and her skills, to the point where I think that she has the potential to be an actually top of the meta pick if you actually do pull on her. And I'm not trying to say this just because she's one of my favorites. I genuinely do think that she's very, very underrated by the general player base, and that she has a lot of relevancy for CMs to come and other things like that. So first, let's take a look at the character by herself. Stack roads, they're alright. I like power the most, but as long as we're not seeing stam and guts, that is okay. Aptitudes, you can see those here, we'll kind of glaze over that and maybe go back to it a little bit later. Her unique skill is going to be the main juicer, so I think I want to talk about the other innate skills first, just to get those out of the way. So in terms of gold skills, we got Dauntless and From the Brink, right? Dauntless is not an amazing skill, because random in the second half for some acceleration, so this usually is not going to come into play. So we're just looking at mainly an increased target speed skill with a kind of short duration. Not really going to be worth the skill points, but again, you're probably going to have extra skill points in this scenario and the next scenario. There's not too many skills that we have to buy anyway. So, I mean, it's alright to have on your Uma. From the Brink 2 is just basically a carbon copy of On Your Left, but for medium races. Again, this is not going to be too relevant, but at least it is better than the gold skills on the original Dober outfits. You could also, of course, stack this with other gambling accelerations and just try to gamble your way to victory on this tracks where this works. Her other white skills are a lot better than the gold skills. We got medium straightaways, full throttle, updrafters, downhill speedster, all I've got. A bunch of really solid skills for late searchers, for mediums, and for miles. Just things that you want, but they're not super game changing. Her unique skill is the real thing that I think is super unique about her. And it positioned mid-pack on a downhill just before late race. There's a large distance left to the finish. Enjoy the race to the fullest, increasing velocity. So first of all, that sounds like a lot of conditions, right? This probably only works on a few tracks is what you're initially thinking. And even if it does, you're just getting some velocity. How is this skill as great as I'm trying to say it is? Well, it is. We'll talk about the power of the skill first. It is going to be 0.35 target speed, which is pretty solid, and for 5 seconds, which is a really long time, actually. And this is going to come into play about why the skill is so powerful, because the conditions of being after 60% of the race on a downhill in the mid-pack is going to make this skill guarantee carryover. And also, by the way, you have to be order 4 to 7 in ranks 4th to 7th place, and that is pretty easy to do. That's very forgiving, especially since it's in the 5-6 range for the Blitz Pumps and Iron, moving past and beyond. The remaining distance has to be greater than or equal to 500 meters, so that's going to be pretty easy to do also. That only applies to a few of the sprint tracks that I have checked. Of course, this character is not going to be good on sprint anyway. So, what that means is I go over here, and this is Tokyo 2400. This is the Japanese Derby. And as you can see, this is the earliest proc for her unique. This is going to be 60% of the race on the dot exactly, because there's a downhill in this whole segment, so it's going to activate the earliest possible time it can. And you can see it is guaranteeing her that 0.35's carryover. And if you do not know what carryover means, it is part of why Christmas Ogre is so powerful on certain maps. It's that you basically increase your target speed before the late race, which means that when the late race activates, when you get into the final leg, you are accelerating from a higher base speed, which means you could get to that max speed a lot quicker than just going for raw acceleration. So remember how I said this is the earliest possible activation time? Well, that means that on every single map where this unique is going to be relevant, she's going to be guaranteeing speed carryover. And there is basically no other character that can do that except for Christmas Okuri, and she has an even more limited selection of maps for getting speed carryover than Mejiro Dober. So this is like, compare this character to other late searchers, for instance. You have to get the moving past and beyond and left palm to Marin. You're gambling on 0.4 excel just by being in the right position. For Mejiro Dober, you could do the same thing. You go for that 0.4 excel, but you also guarantee get this 0.35 carryover, which is more than Christmas Ogre's Festive Miracle, because Festive Miracle, you're going to be getting the 0.25 speed carryover, going to be getting the 0.3 excel, which is less than this. You could also be saying that, okay, well, the inherited uniques are going to be giving less duration, so you're going to be getting less excel. The Christmas Ogre, kind of true depending on situation. If you are doing speed carryover with Ogre, then you're not going to get the full duration of your unique anyway, right? Because it's going to be coming before the final leg, so you're not going to be getting the full excel, not either. But either way, I'm not trying to argue that she's stronger than Christmas Ogre, but she can definitely go toe-to-toe with her, which is something absolutely insane if you build her right. And this works for other tracks too, such as the, the recurring Arima Keenan Nakayama 2500, joined here. It's activates here. This is a long course, yes. And she does have long F, which means that you'll need 2 pink sparks to get her up to the long S. But again, on the long courses, you won't really need the moving past and beyond that much anymore, because at a certain point we'll get the Chris S Stam and the Lose Yourself skill, which means that we'll be getting the excel from that anyway. And she'll just be getting 0.4 excel from that skill, she'll be getting 0.35 carryover, which is insane. Because yes, she's still not the easiest character to build, because of course you need the long S on the long courses, you need the medium S or the mile S, and you need the moving past and beyond inspiration to activate, and will be a low affinity parent, which will suck, and it's not as easy to build as Ogre, for instance. But I do really think, especially if you gamble with excels, you throw a bunch of gambling excels on her, you just try to get one thing to activate, and then all of a sudden you have just way more carryover, way more excel than even some of the strongest characters in the game, like Saiyan's Guide, like Christmas Ogre. And also, like, the skill point investment is not going to be as harsh, because of course, as a late searcher, you're gambling in being the 5-6 position anyway. If you push up kind of more than that, you'll miss your excels. So dropping some mid-game speed kills isn't going to be the end of the world compared to for Saiyan's Guy. You need to beat like the Summer Marus, the Valentine Mihono Bourbons. Christmas Ogre needs a ton of mid-leg skills to beat the other Ogres, try to get lucky pace and beat the frontrunners. She also needs to invest a lot in her recovery skills, whereas Mejiro Dober does not, so that is another advantage she has in terms of that skills. So you may lastly be thinking, okay, well, she can be very, very powerful but hard to build, right? But she's not going to be relevant on many courses. That is what a lot of creators have been saying recently, and I kind of disagree. Like, looking at the relevant CM maps, the Taurus Cup, Tokyo 2400, the Derby, this is going to be every year. She is relevant there. Not Tokyo, she's going to be relevant here at Hanshin 2200. She's going to be relevant here, Hanshin 1600. Relevant here, Kyoto 2200. Relevant here, the Arima Keenan is also a one that is always going to recur every year. It's going to be a 2500. She's always going to be working here. And that is already just so many tracks, I think. And me personally, I would rather take one of my favorite Umas being like really, really powerful on 25% or 30% or whatever of the CMs, as opposed to being mediocre on every CM. Like, if I was a Daiwa Scarlet player, I'd just be miserable because I'm having to fight against other meta Umas every single CM and just trying to outbuild them. But being a Mejiro Dober player is going to be different. Just on the CMs where she is going to be very powerful, she's going to have a way stronger chance of winning, and I just don't have to worry about bringing her on the CMs where she's not going to be good at all. So again, that's just my opinion, but I do think that she has been severely, severely underrated, and that the community has just been glazing over this character. So let me know what you think in the comments. Maybe I'm overrating this character. Maybe she is too good. Maybe just being that hard to build, being that annoying to build is a huge turnoff for you too. But anyways, that's going to be all for now. This video is going on too long because my hard drive exploded, so I don't have that much storage space. Goodbye.